Okay, so at this point, we just walked through assembling the instrument. We were just playing on the small piece for a little bit. Jordan was able to get the F sharp really quickly. Our embouchure was looking pretty good, so we didn't spend too much time on the small piece and moved right on to the full instrument here. No, the song we're playing is Mary Had a Little Lamb, so first I just started by modeling for her. There we go. I kept starting on the first note I was going to teach her instead of the first note of the song by accident. I noticed throughout the video that I kind of did a bad job of modeling the straight head. And yeah, my instrument's not exactly the highest quality, so that gave me a few problems. It definitely helped that Jordan already had a background playing woodwind instruments and saxophone. Well, not instruments, just the saxophone. But that was definitely very helpful for a lot of this lesson. Yeah, see here, Jordan's still relating everything to saxophone. But yeah, here I noticed myself giving that comment a lot, and it was a good comment to give because it seemed to help things. But I kind of noticed myself falling back on the keep your head straight uh, comment to fix a lot of issues where I could have maybe been a little more specific and found something else that was also going on, which would have helped even more. It's a good sign that here I mess up and tell her to pull out when she's flat for some reason. I got twisted around in my head, so that didn't help us for a second. But it's good that she notices that we're so out of tune. I'm glad that I went back and had us move just between the notes in two note groupings to really cement the fingerings down for her and help her with the transitions. she was doing so well with smooth connections with just the two note groupings that I knew she could do it if she just tried again, and she did, obviously, as you can see. Yeah, I hear that horrible intonation. Here, I just decided to try and adjust to her because I can do a lot more voicing wise, and taking the pressure of intonation off of her, I felt like just makes her have one less thing to think about. If I'm the one that's worried about intonation, since this is just the first time she's ever even playing clarinet. I don't know if this part of the lesson was really necessary, but I feel like it kind of got her ear engaged. She had to listen. I know she was also just looking at my fingers, so that helped. But um, I think it kind of just gets her thinking a little more musically. I probably could have asked her to try that one again because I know she would have probably been able to get the smoother connection, but she got the notes. So now we go into the actual song. Now that I've taught her the notes, we move on to the song, and I start by just modeling it one measure at a time. Yeah, I noticed that she wasn't articulating like I did, but I remembered that this is her first time playing on clarinet, so it's probably best to leave articulation for just slightly later, if that's what makes her more comfortable. But here she starts articulating. Here she's back to slurring a little bit, but that's fine. Fine at this stage. I mean, if you look inside of any beginning clarinet book, all the first few pages of exercises are usually going to be slurred if you're moving between notes. So I really liked that she was trying to self diagnose herself, so I went ahead and rolled with that because I figured even if embouchure wasn't quite the issue, it couldn't hurt to just give one quick reminder. I was happy that I was able to remember those few tips. I thought those were helped, and it seemed like they made obvious sense to her. Like with the syllables I gave her, like the IH, the I, and the talking about her tongue on the sides. I feel like that made sense to her, and she was able to apply it right away. I was glad that I also remembered to slow things down. Sometimes in the heat of the moment in the lesson, I just start playing it at the speed that I can play it. which is probably not ideal. It's probably best to slow it down a little bit. Although Jordan was a very quick learner and did a great job of keeping up with a pretty fast pace for what I would consider for a first lesson. Yeah, having some issues with that terrible clarinet. Yeah. Jordan went through the. She had no problem remembering the order of the notes or the measures or anything like that. So I knew that this stage was probably going to go very smoothly. She'd already played like a three bar chunk earlier when I'd only asked her to play one bar. So yeah, here she's still laughing at the intonation. Yeah, that was my bad right there. Yep. I messed up and I went back to the first four bar phrase, but she played it correctly, so shows how quick she was going. And I was really happy that she was having a good time and seemed confident and willing enough to try the whole thing on her own. She wasn't like, oh, I don't know, maybe we should play it together. It seems like she'd been gaining some confidence. Yeah, yeah, that she did a really good job. And this was I'd only planned to work on this song, but as you can see, she really went straight through it and didn't have many issues at all. And so I here I I recommend we just start messing around with it. You know, she's got all these down, but now she was struggling a little with articulation earlier. So why not try and incorporate some articulation now? Now that she's got the basic excuse me, now that she's got the basic notes and everything down, why not try and work on that articulation? I didn't have my sequence worked out as well for this one, so as you can see, I kind of stumbled there, wondering what exactly I wanted her to do. Did I want her to just play one of the measures? Did I want to hear her just play that swing? Also, I noticed this just now. I kept telling her earlier at the very beginning of the lesson. I mentioned to keep your fingers in place over the keys, but then I never really corrected her again, even though her fingers are still flying off. And if you look at my hands, I'm not doing the best job modeling not doing that either.